How's it going, everyone? This is George, aka Hypothetical YJO, and today I'm super excited because I got my first major event top. It was so, oh man, it was so surreal. Um, we topped the RDIQ. We got 13th. We got the playmat. Unfortunately, we didn't get our invite, but that's okay. Everyone that we played against was super good. Everyone at that we played against really earned their chance to be there, except for my round 5 opponent. No offense to you, you were on stun. And I do not like that type of strategy because that's not really a strategy. That's all it is. It's a strategy, not really something that takes a big brain. But that is okay. We played for our first round. We actually got a bye. It was technically a bye. There were 10 people. There were like 10 people that weren't entered into it for some reason. So we couldn't play. So they just gave us a round 1 win because it was their mess up. Then round 2 was up against Print Kids. That went in the time, but we took that 2-1. Round 3 was up against Prank Kids. We got 2-0'd by him. He just kind of drew the nuts. He had double droplets, and then whenever we actually had the chance to break his board, no TK, he had Lancia. So you see where that goes there, chat. Then our round 4 was up against Dragon Link, who was doing Buster Luck. Elise is such a good player. She's really good. Go ahead and check her out in the description. But she 2-0'd us, and that's fine. Both those players made it to top 8, by the way. So both those players you will see in the Invitational. So congrats to them. Round 5 was up against Stun, and then round 6 we played the Mirror up against Tri-Brigade, and we took that 2-0. So we took both those matches 2-0, and I'm super excited to bring you guys this deck profile. I've been working on this for every day, every week. I've been working on this deck and bringing it to the best shape that I can for this event, and I'm super excited to share it with you guys. So to start, we got 3 Fractal, 3 Nerval, 3 Kit, and then 3 Karass actually. So this is kind of awkward compared to a lot of lists, but Fractal is just the best starter you could have. Nerval obviously gets your searches going. Kit can dump more Tri-Brigades, fuel your graveyard. On top of that is an Almirage target. So if you get Lancia, you can just normal summon this, make Almirage, send Nerval, add Fractal, Fractal send Karass. You have 4 engraved for your Revolt. So your Revolt's completely live and you have an interruption despite Lancia, which is fine. And then Karass, the reason why I run it at 3 is because it's a free extender in this deck, really. Having Karass at 3, it gives you something free to dump off of Kit because this does nothing in grave. So it's not something that you're really going to miss if you don't need it. And it gives you something free to dump off of Kit if you want, just to load up your grave. Sometimes that comes up. So that's why I'm on 3 Karass. It's just super nice to have that utility of having that 3rd Karass. It makes sure Desires banishes better because you don't banish this out. So there's a lot of things like that. So that's why I play that at 3 as well. Then finally for the Zoodiac monsters, this ratio is pretty standard. It is 1 rat, 1 ram, 1 whip. Rat Pier is it can dump ram, and then you basically go and make a Mega Clops combo to make your Fair Jet instead of making Mega Clops, and then you make a 3 Material Appaloosa and double Dragon Lords. If you want more on that, there's a combo tutorial down below in the description, or there should be an annotation. I don't know if YouTube still does that or anymore. I've been doing this stuff since 2010, so you get the idea. And then Whiptail, just to out problem cards like Winda, just out problem cards like just random stuff like that, you know what I mean? So you can out like Dragoon with this if you can bait the Dragoon negate. You get the idea from there. So there's that. And then we have, for hand traps, we're only running 3 copies of Ash Blossom and then 3 copies of Phantasme. Now, the reason why we're only running these is, 1, Ash is really nice up against pretty much every matchup right now. Ashing Seals, if you're a Dragon Link player, opens kind of suboptimally, is really nice. Being able to Ash, like an LP. And then Phantasme, just being able to dig for those extra interruptions or dig to fix your hand. If it's loaded with Tri-Brigade, you can dig for like a Strike and Revolt. Or you can oftentimes just draw 4 cards off of this and put 3 back. You can literally start using a Skull Dread on your opponent's turn, which is super nice. Plus, this wins the mirror pretty much every time because your opponent can't target with double Dragon Lords. Just this, plus any discard, deals with 2 interruptions. So that's really nice. And then Ash, unfortunately, the reason why I kind of lost the round 3 up against Praying Kids was because I banished all 3 Ash off Desires. But that's okay. Sometimes that happens. We still topped anyway, so who cares? We did super well, so... finally, we're on to spells. We play 3 Tenki. Just to search the Fractal, plus you can search like a rat with this, so if your opponent interrupts your plays, like if your opponent lances you during standby or something, you can go ahead and search a zoo, and then you have an interruption on board in the form of Trident, so that's really nice. Plus you can free pop this with your Barrage if you've already used it, to just go ahead and make plays that way, which is super cool. Or plus this, you can just... The nice thing about Tenki is off of double Dragon Lords. So if you remember back to the last Spiral format where you sent dead cards in your hand off of Souls to get free draws and Lunalights, this is the same, except this is a free send off of your double Dragon Lords. So you don't have to make a choice. You could just send this from field, target a face-up card on the field, and return it to hand. So that is super, super good. Then we have 3 Pot of Desires. Desires over Prosperity in this deck because the extra deck is so tight. I can't even express how tight it is. But Pot of Desires allows you to dig for more trap cards. The only things that it messes up are your trap trick ratios, which is fine. You really don't care at that point. Pot of Desires is a +1 at the end of the day, and that's all you really care about. Plus, you're really only using it at the end of your combo, not at the start. So, then finally for spells, it is 1 copy of Called by the Grave and 1 Zoodiac Barrage. The reason why I'm not playing Foolish Burial or Monster Reborn or any of those other extenders is because I feel like a lot of hands just don't need them. I feel like I can stun my opponent out enough, my hand's weak enough with all the trap cards that I'll draw, or I feel like I can make a decent enough board without them. So there's not really a point. So that's why I'm only playing Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave mainly for Lancia. My opponent asked my Nerval search, and I pretty much said that's fine, I don't care. Or asked my Fractal during one of the rounds, and then I Karas discarded Kit, and I said I don't care to that. And then I got a search off Nerval, so I was completely fine there. And then on top of that, Barrage, just get free zoos out, get stuff like that. You can bait enough interruptions, and if you open this, you can bait your opponent's interruptions, and then just slap this down, and then just go activate target itself, and then summon a zoo, and then make Zeus. And clear the board that way. Finally, or sorry, not finally, but now we're on to traps. I'm on 3 copies of Solemn Strike. This card coming up is really nice in a grind game. So you can use it to deal with any like problem cards. It deals with pretty much just a lot of random problem cards. So you can deal with stuff like you can deal with stuff like Ash later in turns. You can deal with hand traps later in turns. Up against Prank Kids, whenever I was gonna OTK him, I actually had enough for Strike to pay. But he had Lancia. He had Toad and Battle Butler. So I was gonna strike the Battle Butler. He can't chain the Toad, and then I had Call by the Grave. But unfortunately, we couldn't. It's okay. It's okay. We're fine. Anyway, so there's that. And then we have triple Ice Dragon's Prison. Ice Dragon's Prison is the best normal trap card in the game right now. Target a card in your opponent's, or target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, summon it to your field. Then you banish 2 monsters of the same type from both players' fields. So really, if you need to, you can banish your own monster if you really want to. You can banish something random, whatever. There's so many different things that you can do with this card. It has so much utility. I didn't automatically die to Prank Kids because of this card. I summoned an Ash from their graveyard, and then it had a big enough booty so they couldn't kill me. So it does stuff like that. This card lets you live. It lets you do a lot of things. Then finally, the best card in the deck and why you play Tri-Brigade is this card right here, Tri-Brigade Revolt. This card is Soul Charge, Return from a Different Dimension. It is so many things. It gives you a search. It gives you a draw, or it can give you a draw. It gives you banish. It gives you so many different things. If you don't know what this card does, you special summon a number of your Beast Warrior, and or Wing Beast monsters that are banished and or in your graveyard, but negate their effects. Then immediately after this effect resolves, you link summon one Tri-Brigade Link monster using those monsters as material. So this card is absolutely insane. Not enough people respect this card. People kept asking me what this card does today. So many people, and I played at locals after this. So many people asked me what this card does, and they just did not understand it. I'm like, it ruins your world, is what it does. So this card allows you to make so many plays that just win you games. And then finally, for IDP and Revolt, I play Trap Trick. I felt like 2 was enough. If I up it to 3, then I'm cutting things that I really don't want. I'm cutting the 3rd Karaz, which I find I'd rather have over the 3rd Trap Trick. I'm cutting like a Strike whenever I'd rather have that. Like, I'm cutting so many things. So I felt 2 Trap Trick was fine. So, yeah. My favorite card today, though, is definitely the Revolt. There's so many awesome plays that I really want to go over, and I'll go over in my next video. Just 5-head plays to make with this deck that are so good with Trap Trick. Trap Trick is so nice, and I'll go over those in another video. Probably in my next video I'll go over them, and yeah. So the next we're on to our extra deck. Oh, by the way, 40 card extra deck, or 40 card main deck, by the way. But we're on to our extra deck. We play for Tri-Brigade cards. It's 2 Fairjet, 1 Rugal, and then 2 Shureg. I think this ratio is pretty standard by this point. You do miss a 3rd Shureg, but really, you can kind of live without it. You just have to be a little bit careful with your resources with this deck, because your extra deck is your resources. Once you run out of them, you're kind of done for the game. But this card does so much. It's a search. It banishes a card. This can pretty much draw you everything you need, and then this recurs resources for you. So this can recur a Fractal to hand, because the way this works is during the main phase you can special summon a level 4 or lower Tri-Beast monster, and then its effects are negated and it's returned to the hand during the end phase. So that's why you play that. And then next, the 1 Almirage. Almirage, this allows you to have like a kit normal summon. This allows you to play around stuff like Lancia, because really, when your opponent hits you with Lancia on kit, it doesn't do much, because you just normal summon your kit anyway, and then you get 4 materials and grave off of that. Broken. Plus, this can target a monster you control, and it can't be destroyed by card effects. Like, that's super nice up against like Dragoon, so you don't just auto die to Dragoon or something. It just does like so many different things. Then you could go like Revolt Strike the Dragoon. So it's super crazy what this card does for this deck. Then for the 1 Link 2, the generic, or well, technically generic in this deck, we play Double Dragon Lords. This is part of your end board. You're generally ending on Appaloosa with Double Dragon Lords, and then a set Revolt. But in this case, this card is absolutely insane. It's Disruption. It's like Seals, pretty much, except you can just send dead cards. You can send a Nerfball from hand and get follow up. You can do so many things with this card. You can send itself, which is super hilarious. I would have done so many times today. You could literally just send Double Dragon Lords to bounce something, and it just deals with it that way. And then they can't attack over it, so there's that. Then for Link 3s, we play Desperate Doom Eagle. It's just nice to have another Link 3 to go and make your access code if you want to. Plus, this has a neat effect where it's pretty much a DD Crow, except it shuffles back to deck a monster in your opponent's graveyard. So this against Invoked is really hilarious in a grind game, because you can shuffle back their Alistair. So I've made plays like that, and it's super nice. So there's that for the Desperate Doom Eagle. And then for Link 4s, I'm on Appaloosa and Access Code. Access Code, obviously, to close games out. This deck has trouble dealing with established boards. That's just something with the Tri-Brigade deck, is it has trouble dealing with like large established boards. And Access Code helps clear that up. And then Appaloosa is part of your M board. You can make this going second and deal with interruption. So you can do things like that. Then finally for the zoos, we play 1 Shock, 1 Borbo, 1 Tiger, 1 Trident, and 1 Zeus. Trident, just being able to pop cards is nice. Mortar and Shock for the Megaclops combo, and then of course Borbo to make an easy Zeus. So Zeus is insane in this deck because you can go ahead and use your trap cards as Chainlink 2 in response to something, and then you could use Zeus as Chainlink 3, and then send everything. Your trap card still resolves, so like your Revolt still resolves, and then you're banishing something. So that's how good this card is. Then we're on to the side deck. For side deck, we are on 3 copies of Dark Roller. I needed more sides for Dragon Link. Dragon Link is probably the hardest matchup for this, just because double bounce is really crazy. Plus Hot Red is a targeted negation. Targeted negation is really tough for this deck to deal with. So Dark Roller just helps with that board a lot. And then of course a Nib, just once again for combo decks. Also this deck too, like any Tri-Brigade variant, plays into Nib very, very badly. So you can't make like Appaloosa first and then double Dragon Lords generally. So Nib is super nice in that. And then we play the 2 Alpha, 1 Pankratops. I'm tempted to cut this for 3rd Alpha. But Pankratops being able to deal with back row, like this is just so much more versatile. So I don't know. Let me know what I should do in the comments. But I'm tempted to just play the 3rd Alpha. Plus it's just outs Dragoon. This outs a ton of problem cards and everything. So that's really nice. Then we have Twin Twisters for back row decks. I was running Harpy's I was running Feather Duster, but I cut it. The reason why is because I'd rather have this. Being able to go standby phase, deal with your opponent's 2 back row that they'll probably have, is insane. Like up against invoked Dogmatica, Shaddolls, like what do they usually have? They'll usually just have Schism and Punishment, unless they have something else. Unless they're on like, I don't know, Eldritch Shenanigans or something. But they'll usually have that. So you could just pop that and destroy both their back row. What about Prank Kids? Tsubu or IEP plus Pandemonium. Boom. You deal with their back row, and then you don't care about their deck. So that's super nice. Unfortunately, couldn't draw it. What are you going to do, chat? It'd be like that sometimes. And then Solemn Judgment. This was originally 2 Anti-Spell in Imperial Order, but I found Solemn Judgment super nice. From one, I never drew Anti-Spell, so that's kind of unfortunate. And it's not because these are like super warped or anything. I just never draw the freaking card. But I drew Judgment more, and I was super happy about it. Every time I saw this card, it was great. I never had any issues. I was able to Judgment summons. You're able to Judgment trap cards and everything with this. So up against Stun, actually. Up against Stun, round 5. This is the reason why I won. Because what I ended up doing is I had Twin Twister's Judgment in my opening hand with Kit. So, and then for turn I drew into another Judgment. So they opened Fossil Dyna, Patches Follow with Moon Mirror Shield, and then one other set. I was able to go Twin Twisters, discard the Kit, send Nerval add a guy, and then I also had like Kara's in hand. And then I was able to make double Dragon Lord's Appaloosa, and then I just set double Judgment past. And he attempted to normal summon Inspector Border, and I literally just Judgment the summon, and he pretty much escaped right there because it was game over the next turn. So, or no, I didn't end on Appaloosa double Dragon Lords. I ended on Rugal double Dragon Lords, but he physically couldn't do anything to it. So this card won me so many games, and it continues to win me games. Plus, this you can use against evenly match. You cannot use this, or you cannot use anti-spell or Imperial Order against evenly match. Generally. So, yeah, that was the deck. Like I said, I went X2. I went 4-2 today. I got my first major Konami top, and I'm super happy. If you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, please. I have been working my butt off with this deck, and thank you all for the support. It's been so great. We recently hit 100 subscribers, which is awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough. Go check out Team Pie for Life down below. Check out Core TCG, Project CCG, the locals that I go to, or the locals that I do online. Go ahead and check out my Twitch and my Twitter and my Discord down below. All those links are down below. Feel free to hit the subscribe button and everything. And I will see you all next time.